cooperation with partners. But it would be interesting to develop this dialogue.
Again, Mr. President, what an honor to have you with us. Also, as President of the European Union, the region so close to the history of the ILO. Many of the social struggles in Europe that erupted with the wave of globalization at the end of the 19th century are at the origin of the ILO. And your presence with us further underscores the EU's support for the decent work agenda and flair globalization that comes not only from the EU Council and the Commission, but also the Parliament and European Economic and Social Committee. And you have a profound belief that the European Union can play a key role as a global leader to help address together with others many of the complex issues of today. And most importantly, for us, you are today making history. I'm saying that you're making history because you are the first sitting president of the European Union who addresses the International Labour Conference.
It is not surprising that the current debates on globalization concentrate on the issues of uneven distribution of its fruits, on the ethical and legal aspects of technological development, and on a variety of social and political problems generated during this recent phase of globalization. Issues revolving around employment and work are an important part of this debate. This is not surprising. A mature understanding of the advances of the past decades necessarily involves greater emphasis on their social and political dimensions. And the current financial upheavals and rising food prices have only added an element of drama to this already existing understanding. Decent work is of vital importance in every society because it represents the first and most critical step out of poverty. This is the case even in affluent societies, such as those in Europe, where material deprivation is mitigated by higher levels of social transfers and subsidies. However, subsidies and social transfers do not eliminate poverty. Very often in such circumstances, poverty lingers on in the form of social exclusion. Social peace based on exclusion is precarious. Decent work for all provides inclusion and is the only viable solution. Now, in poverty-stricken societies, on the other hand, this fact is even more pronounced. There simply is no way out of poverty without development, and there is no substitute for basic requirements of development, that is, expanding employment and decent work. This is why worldwide implementation of the concept of decent work is called for. Creation of employment opportunities and implementation of the basic labor standards, creation of opportunities for an adequate income, social protection and social dialogue between the main partners within a society are objectives of global importance. They are also among the criteria by which history will judge the quality of our era of globalization. Now, the conditions for achievement of these criteria are different in different parts of the world. In Europe, combining social justice and economic competitiveness represents the essence of development. Therefore, inclusion of the concept of decent work as a part of the European social agenda is a natural choice. The concept of decent work is also an essential element in the Lisbon Strategy on Growth and Employment, which the European Union adopted in 2000 and which has been subject to an intense policy discussion since 2005. This discussion is expected to energize the implementation of the strategy and to add new incentives for development. Active employment policies are emphasized in this context. They constitute the basis for an improved social cohesion and for the new cycle of development. At the same time, it will be necessary to modernize European systems of social protection, to improve the level of flexibility of labor markets, and to strengthen investment in human capital so as to ensure the needed knowledge and skills. The European Union, and in particular the European Commission, will continue to strengthen external assistance for social adjustment in countries and regions outside the EU, which are involved in trade liberalization. Now, trade liberalization should be promoted in a manner which will help to achieve high growth, higher employment, and progressive realization of standards of decent work. This is a difficult task, but one which must not be avoided and which will give the full meaning to the concept of international cooperation in the era of intensive globalization. Ladies and gentlemen, in the globalized world of today, international cooperation is indispensable for the realization of the concept of decent work. The role of international institutions is essential, and among them, the ILO has a central importance.